Are there any UFO cases and sightings from my home country, Latvia? Yes, there are, and even George Knapp talks about it quite often. If you haven't heard about the case of pyramid UFOs in Latvia, then this is it. This is your chance to hear it. So let's start, and I'm just gonna spill the tea about that. Hello my friends, so welcome back to my channel. This is it. This is the first video after my honeymoon where I'm again jumping into the rabbit hole of paranormal, mysterious, true crime and UFOs. I am so excited. I missed it so much. Today I'm bringing to your attention a story about UFO sighting in my home country, Latvia. I know you guys like those stories from my home country apparently because not so many people outside Latvia actually watch the news from Latvia, and there's not so much known about these cases outside Latvia. Obviously, we don't make such a fuss about it here. As I promised in one of my previous videos, I will try to find some interesting UFO cases from my home country that I could share with you that would be interesting also for you. And there it is. I found this one. This is pretty exciting, and apparently also people outside Latvia knew about it, but just not so many. It was like a narrow circle of people who knew it, and also the ones who follow the people who are into the UFO cases. Because this case actually is a case from the USSR times. Honestly, the information about this specific sighting that I'm gonna tell you about is quite scarce. There are just like some main points that we know that happened. But the main thing is that there is literal proof, there is a video. And this video caught the attention of the USSR governments, the Russian government. So I think this is a big deal. But let's just dive into the story and see how it goes and see how you feel about that. But before we jump into this specific case, we have to look at another thing that's related to this case. Pyramid UFOs. Yes, you heard me correctly. Those UFOs that have been around for quite a while, that have caught the attention of people. This is the type of UFOs that are popping up now and there in different places of the world. Even military have seen them and talked about them. So I think this is legit, and this is also part of the Latvian pyramid UFO case. The case of the Latvian pyramid UFO, the documented one, brings us back as far as the summer of 1968. How did it happen? Who saw it? Who filmed it? Can we see it somewhere? Well, let's start from the beginning. So one day, one summer of 1968, some filming crew was out there filming a propaganda video for the USSR government. Basically, they were filming the tryouts or the testing of Soviet jets. So that was the thing that was happening on that day. So the main source of this sighting was actually the video that this cameraman took because he was actually out there shooting the jet. And I managed to find the name of this cameraman because in many English sources they do not mention this actual person who filmed this video, but in one Latvian source it was said that the cameraman's name was Viktors Gudiņš and he was a professional cameraman. So I guess this just adds some legitness to this video that was created afterwards documenting this UAP. What happened is that the pilot of the jet that was flying up in the sky and doing the tests and that was filmed by this cameraman Viktors, he was just flying, and suddenly he noticed something in front of him, something that he hadn't seen before in his life. The pilot immediately reacted and he just let everybody know what he's seeing, and he also wanted the filming crew to film it. So he was shouting into his headphones, "Look at it, just film it, do you see it?" or something like that. So one of the filming crew people who were down there filming this, they remember that they looked up in the sky and they saw a triangular shaped object just hovering up there in the sky, and I quote, the person said it was at a tremendous height. According to the Latvian source that I was reading, a couple of the witnesses actually said that when they were looking up there to this UAP, they noticed that there was something moving inside the triangle. And apparently the other jets that were out there for testing joined the initial pilot just to get closer to this object and to investigate what it is. And yes, this object suddenly like this, immediately disappeared from the sky. Like literally like dashed away in an enormous speed that cannot be detected. It was later estimated, according to the documents that were created after researching this video, that this object was hovering 7 miles above the ground. It would be like around 11 kilometers above the ground, but then again, in some other sources, the Latvian ones, I don't know which one is more legit. It was said that this object was hovering around 20 kilometers or 12 miles above the ground. And according to the same Latvian source that I was reading, I'm not sure how legit it is. Was it like referring to the USSR research? But one side of the triangle was around 30 meters long. Now, the information about this encounter and the fact that it was literally filmed on camera reached the USSR government, the Ministry of Defense, and later on all of the information, all of the videos, everything was taken away to Kremlin, where it was hidden from the public and stayed like this for many years. During that time, it was classified as a secret material, and apparently Russians were doing a lot of research and analysis on all of the things that they had about this UFO sighting. So the people who were part of the filming crew on that day, they said that apparently the Soviet Union government took this case very seriously. Otherwise, they wouldn't take away all of the things that they had, like the filmed material and all their testimonies and everything. They wouldn't be hiding it if it wasn't nothing. So all the people who were present on that moment strongly believe that they saw aliens, that they saw UFO, and they really believe that the Russian government realized it, and that's why they kept it a secret for a long time. They just wanted to research it more to get more information about that. And it just makes sense, because if we listen to George Knapp, then he is telling a lot in his interviews that the Russians, the USSR government, were really into aliens, and they were doing researches on aliens and UFOs for like many years secretly, and they had like piles of documentation that had stories about UFOs in Russia and USSR. And this case that I'm talking to you about right now actually became quite well known among people who are interested into UFOs outside US, thanks to Mr. Knapp. And like, if you don't know who George Knapp is, please do your research, and the shortcut to his stories would be my suggestion to watch a podcast Weaponized that's created by George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell. And they actually have an episode where they're diving into the stories of USSR and Russian UFOs. Because Mr. Knapp here, he was a rebel when he was young, and he went to Russia and he got some real documents and talked to some real people from Russian government who like admitted that there were a lot of UFO cases that the Russian government was looking into. In one of those episodes, and not only there, Mr. Knapp tells that during the 90s, during the time of perestroika, as I said, he went to Russia and he saw there that the Russian government has like piles of files, documents, videos and stuff, testimonies. It's just the people outside USSR and Russia don't know about that because they were kept secret. Now, Mr. Knapp went even further, and this is also linked to this story. So he met a physicist in Russia who had some connections with the Russian government, which led him to actually go and see those documents and those researches in regards to UFOs in USSR and Russia. And what he did was he smuggled a couple of documents and also videos from those materials that he saw there. Like, badass. I mean, he's dealing with USSR and Russia. It's really badass, believe me. And well, my assumption is that maybe he was bribing something because like corruption down there is really high, so maybe that helped a little bit. I don't know. But anyways, one of the things that he smuggled apparently was this video from 1968. And this is why we have it here. This is why we can talk about it. And this is why Mr. Knapp is like pointing out to this evidence that pyramid-shaped UFOs were legit also in Russia, in the USSR. He learned, Mr. Knapp, what he learned from this visit in Russia in the 90s is that the Russians had like at least 10 years extensive research done on different UFO cases in their territory. And this case of 1968 is just a little bit, it's like a small part of it. The Russian researchers who were working with this video and the testimonies that they had from this case of 1968, they concluded that the video is legit. They believe that this is really a UAP or UFO, call it whatever. And this conclusion was based on two main points, basically the way how the object moved and secondly how it looked. And if we look at the stories about other pyramid-shaped UFOs that are leaked right now, it really looks the same. So now let's switch on our skeptics. Can there be any other explanation to this phenomena that the filming crew and the jet pilots saw there? Well, some skeptics say that this actually was a weather balloon. Yep, good old weather balloons. When you cannot explain something, blame it on weather balloons. Why not? Again, I'm pretty sure if people would give me at least $1 for each time when they say that the UAPs are weather balloons, I would become a millionaire. Like, definitely. I would be like Elon Musk level. Because weather balloon, that's a thing apparently for the skeptics. Not to look at and analyze the situation, what's weird about it, but it's just weather balloon, okay? No, you must be saying, yeah, Latvia is small and this must be just one UFO sighting from your country. Well, there is actually a chance that this is not the only case. We just don't know so much. And after doing my research, I came across with some other interesting cases that I might actually look into a little bit like later in some future videos. Just let me know if you want to know that. And I do believe that there were more cases specifically from Latvia, from the USSR time, because if we believe the theory that UFOs are coming down here on the Earth, just hovering above the sky and checking on us if we're not killing each other or just seeing how are we killing each other, then USSR time, like the Cold War and stuff, that would be the time when they would be more interested in seeing what's happening. Now, my own opinion is that I do believe that there was something strange in the sky on that day, and it definitely wasn't a weather balloon. Like, definitely not. That's my opinion, of course, and I have the right to have my own opinion. I do believe that this might be a UAP because, as the Russian research said, all the characteristics showed that this is something that looks out of this world, like the way how it moved, the way how it hovered, the size, how it looked, all of it added up to this idea that this definitely should have been a UAP. And another thing that kind of convinced me that this should be a UAP is that, remember, it was 1968. And I doubt that there was some kind of like advanced spy technology that was sent there to just spy on those Russian jets. I don't believe that the technology of like any country on the earth during that time was so advanced. I don't believe that any of the countries during that time had some kind of triangle shaped like super speed, I don't know, jet or drone that could have been sent to this particular place to spy on those jets. I do not really believe. Like, the fact of the technology of this pyramid triangle thingy, it just gets me more confused and makes me more convinced that this wasn't something from this earth. Oh, this is it. It was quite short, but I think it was quite convincing. And I would be very happy to hear your theories, your comments, your speculations. You're very welcome to do that in the comment section. Again, I'm so happy to be back here with another story for you. And I hope you also watched my honeymoon video, like bits and pieces of that, because it was really warm and nice. Oh, it was so nice. Anyways, I hope you have a lovely day. It's not such a bad weather here in Norway, Bergen, although, as I mentioned in my previous video, I got some cold from the temperature change from 40 degrees in Turkey, 40 degrees Celsius, to 19 degrees Celsius in Bergen, and soon it's gonna go lower. I have sore throat. I hope I will get well back soon, because I have to go back to work. Like, somebody has to earn money. Enough resting, you know. Anyways, enjoy your day. I hope you have a lot of sunshine, because it's still the last month of summer and there should be some sunshine days still. Yeah, love you a lot. Still very happy to see you again. Bye.